styles, every shit. I'm here. It's really human, no one. Hello, my beautiful sheep. Just a little side note before we get started, but no, I actually don't want to do it all. Cut. Selamat pagi, she awakened listeners, which means good morning in Balinese, which is of course where I live here in Bali, or hello, or Om Swastiastu means welcome, Selamat datang. If you can tell, I have been learning more-ish, trying slowly to learn more Balinese. So welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode with your host, Stormy. I'm so grateful and excited that you're here for a deep dive into your Dharma. So we're going to talk about what your Dharma is, where the term even comes from, what it means, and how to discover your Dharma. And I want to share with you 3 key pieces that is going to help you to do just that. I'm not going to gatekeep. I'm not going to hold it back. I'm going to give you all that I can to help you discover your own Dharma, and also no doubt share some of my journey and behind the scenes of how I've been able to create a life that's literally in devotion to my Dharma in every single area of my life, which is why I am so passionate about this conversation and helping other women to do the same. So let's not fuck around. Let's just dive right on in and get started. Before we do, I want to remind you, as I just reminded myself, to take a breath. So let's just take a breath together before we have this conversation. Breathing in with me. Letting it go. Beautiful. So you may have heard of the term Dharma before, or it might be new to you. My main association and first discovery of Dharma is really purpose. Your purpose. Dharma is a Sanskrit term, and I've said before on the podcast, but Sanskrit terms, the Sanskrit philosophy is where so much of my teachings and my spiritual connection really comes from, which originates in India. And it actually also does 100% crossover and link into Hinduism as well, which I love because Bali, where I live, is a mostly Hindu culture, island, and religion. So that's really cool. So it basically just means living in alignment with the blueprint of your soul, with your authentic purpose. So your Dharma is your soul's reason for being here, for incarnating and being on this planet, essentially. When you live your Dharma, that means that you are devoted to living your true, authentic purpose and riding those waves and being all in on that. You're not dabbling, you don't try it out, you're devoted to it. And Dharma sort of links into the word karma, which as well has a similar background, but karma is obviously more about what you put out comes back to you. And so when you are living in alignment with your Dharma, you're naturally going to have really great karma, because everything in this universe is energy. And see it as this way. When you choose to say yes and answer the call of your soul's purpose, the universe will do everything in its power and intelligence to support you doing so. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I have experienced that, wholeheartedly. So let's talk about your purpose and discovering what the fuck that actually is. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I hear from women who are like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know. How do I figure it out? And I remember vividly being at a point in my life where I was like, I knew that I was here for more than what my current reality was. I was living at home with my parents. I was working at a gym and as a barista, and I was studying. And I knew that I wanted to do something along the lines of working for myself and helping people. And that was kind of the only thing that I actually knew properly. I was studying nutrition at the time, but it sort of reached that point where I was like, I loved it, but at the same time it wasn't feeling amazing, and I was just feeling really confused. And you might relate to that. Like if you're unsure of your Dharma right now, it probably feels like a little bit hazy, a little bit messy, a little bit cloudy, like a little bit unsure. Or you might have an inkling like I did, but you haven't fully anchored into it. And so that's what I really want to invite you to do through my podcast and through my containers, is like really deeply fucking know it, own it, embody it, and live it, to experience it. But like I was saying, I remember that time of just like real confusion, and the biggest, I would say, mistake, I mean, I don't really see anything as like a huge mistake, but the biggest thing that frustrated me at the time when I was trying to figure out my purpose is that I thought about it so hard. And this is just something to reflect on right now. It's like, if you're trying to figure it out, you're doing it wrong. Your Dharma comes to you. Your purpose comes to you. It is a calling, it is a knowing, it is a whisper, it is a niggle, it is a nudge. And the more that you open your heart and your mind and your energy to receiving this knowing and to being connected to your higher self, to your spiritual connection, it just gets to drop in. It just comes. It's just this knowing, this awareness, this truth, instead of something that you have to figure out. So that's going to be the first thing that I want you to take on board, is like, you don't need to go and figure it out. It's not your job. That is simply your mind trying to take over and run the show. But you are going to live a really rich, abundant, purpose-filled life the more and more and more and more that you actually move from just living from your mind and thinking about things and living through the narrator in your head, and actually drop into your body and the experience of it. And your intuition lives in your body. And your intuition is really the part of you that we're bringing online here when we're talking about your purpose and like figuring it out. Inverted commas, figuring it out is accessing the part of you that already knows. So this is a code for you. On some soul level, you already know what your Dharma is, what your purpose is. It is your mind, your ego, that has like covered it up and meant that you've forgotten. So your job is not to go and figure it out or make it happen. Your job is to simply peel away the rules, the conditioning, the BS, the fear, the judgments that are stopping you from knowing and owning your Dharma. So it doesn't live out there, and you don't need to give your power away to anything out there to try and get it and find it. You simply need to allow yourself to come home to the truth that your soul already knows. And this is a belief, a core belief of mine that I always share with clients, and feel free to take it on. My soul always knows the way. Even when my mind does not, my soul always knows. And I use that, I lean on that in times of transformation, which feels like crumbling, what the fuck is happening, and challenge and uncertainty. Like, cool, I don't know what the fuck is happening, and I'm not sure what is what, but my soul knows the way. And I want to give credit to probably one of the most important, like, influential people who I was listening to and using as an expander at the time that I mentioned, when I was feeling really lost and unsure of my purpose, which is Sahara Rose. And she has a podcast and is such an amazing leader and coach and mentor and just epic human doing epic fucking things in the world. And she really was the first one to introduce me to Dharma and to your purpose. And I remember even like I was out in nature, because nature and earthing, grounding, is such a beautiful way of regulating the nervous system, connecting to your body, and accessing your intuition. And I was just lying there on the grass, out in nature. I was being out for a walk, and I was listening to one of Sahara's podcasts all about purpose. And I was like, what the fuck is my purpose? Why can't I figure this out? Why is it so hard? Why is it so messy? Why am I so lost? And I went and laid in the fucking grass and I had a cry. And I think I might have even fallen asleep because I was like meditating and I was like trying to find the answers within me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I fell asleep and I woke up and then I just had this like peace wash over me and just this immense knowing that like it's unfolding. You don't know the answers right now because you're not supposed to. It is all unfolding exactly as it needs to. And so what I actually needed in that moment was not a solid piece of answer of what my purpose was. It was to simply stop and really look around and enjoy the journey of figuring out my purpose. So I want to pass that on to you as well and realize that there is no destination, there is no end goal or finish line of, yay, this is my purpose and I'm living it. It's a devotion and it's a journey. And I know for a fact that your understanding of your purpose will change as you change. It will grow and it will shift and transform as you do. Think about, who you were at 18 and your sense of purpose compared to when you're 25. Think about your sense of purpose when you were a maiden, as in you didn't have children, to when you're a mother. I'm not a mother, but I know for a damn well fact that my sense of purpose is going to shift dramatically when I have children. I already have that inkling and knowing that a massive part of my Dharma is to raise conscious children and to really set up the future generation to do my part with my own children and to, when I reach that point, to have that be a part of my mission and my movement and my business and my coaching is like the motherhood parenting aspect. I already know that. I'm not there and I'm not living it because that's not the season that I'm in. But I know that's going to change. Think about if you experience a traumatic event like before that versus after that, you're a changed human. Your sense of purpose is going to change dramatically. So don't see it as this thing that you have to know and understand and grip to. See it as this dance with life. Like you are in the university of life. You are currently enrolled in the university of life and it is here teaching you, giving you the curriculum. Pay fucking attention to the curriculum that it's currently giving you because that curriculum right now is paving the way for your next evolution of your Dharma. Let me just say that again. The curriculum that life, the University of Life, is currently giving you, all of the shit and all of the good, is paving the way for your next evolution of following your Dharma, your purpose. Pay attention, open your heart, open your mind, and receive the medicine that is in that. And so I have gone on to completely transform my life from that moment that I just shared with you of lying in the grass, essentially having a tantrum, but then going into a meditation and being like, intuition, what do you have for me? What do you want to tell me? Life is so drastically different. I don't even know how many years ago that was, to be honest. I'm going to say like 3 years, maybe even 2.5 years. No, probably 3 years actually. And since then, I have 110% found such a deep, rich, fulfilling sense of purpose. One that can make me tear up and want to cry as I say that. Like I really, really feel that. And I'm living that. Like I'm really living my Dharma now in a way that for me and I have learnt so much about creating a life that is rich in your Dharma since that moment several years ago. So fucking much. Like today I get to sit here filming this, recording this, whilst I sit here in my current home in Bali with a beautiful man by my side helping me create content and run my business, who is a very integral part of Storm journey and She Awakened and this business, this empire that we are creating. And that alone for me is such a big part of my Dharma. I have this huge mission to lead a movement of women reconnecting with their authenticity and their body and divine feminine and, purpose, your Dharma. And a big part of that as well is it's not just about ticking off the achievements and I made this much money and I helped this many women. It is the fulfillment, it's the journey, it's the experience of that. And doing that alongside my partner is something that I have always wanted to do. Since I decided that I wanted to have my own business and create a community and create this sort of movement along this specific industry, I've always known that I wanted my husband one day to be along with me. And so the fact that I get to do that with him and experience the highs and the lows, because it's not all easy, is so in alignment with my Dharma, and just gives me the warm fucking fuzzies. And doing that in Bali, again, I don't see the point as, like I just said, ticking shit off a to-do list and having the external, this successful, makes this much money, works for this many people, amazing in her Dharma. I love the fact that I get to live in a really beautiful island. I get to finish my workday, go on an adventure, I get to go to yoga, I get to go to so many amazing workshops and women's circles and meet the most incredible humans and just stumble across such cool opportunities through Bali magic. Someone yesterday said to me, Bali magic, brought this to me, and I was like, that's so fucking true. Bali has a magic about it that is unlike anything I've ever experienced, where the island is so feminine, and Mama Bali, she just brings things into your life that you need, that you desire, and it's just so fucking magical. And so for me, that's a massive part of my Dharma, that spiritual community, the spiritual connection, the adventures. I don't just want to work and make money and be successful and build a career and just hustle. I want connection, deeply, deeply, deeply. And that's a big part of our Dharma in general, as all humans. We are social beings. We are here for connection, for deep, authentic connection. And so weaving that into your life, into your job, your career, the relationships that you have is so important if you want that fulfillment in your soul. Really, really, really creating success from a connection, authentic connection sort of place. So anyways, there's a few things, I'm just in my feels now. There's a few things that I want to share with you to think about when it comes to creating your Dharma, driven life, living your Dharma. So number one is your desires. I really, truly, deeply believe that your desires lead you to your Dharma. Your desires are not random. They are not just a want that you just came up with one day. Your desires are placed on your heart and in your body, in your intuition, in your energetic field, by your highest self, by the divine, by whatever higher power you choose to believe in that is so much more intelligent than you are. Let's just take, why do you desire to live by the coast, for example? If that is you, why do you desire that? Really sit and feel and think into that, because fulfillment, that just makes you feel so much more fucking alive and turned on. And the people that you get to meet are more like-minded. The amount of doors that get to open up for your fulfillment, for your connections, for your purpose are so uncapped, even just by the one simple choice of where do I desire to live in this world? Or me, deciding I heard that desire loud and clear to move overseas, which was a shock at first. I was like, excuse me, ma'am, that's not me. I don't live overseas. I don't want to live overseas. I've never wanted to live overseas. But I heard that desire loud and clear, and I can't tell you how much my life has transformed for the better And I feel so much more connected to my Dharma by honoring that desire, listening, and deciding to do something about it. Or if you have a desire to go and study something, a course, a degree, a certification, that is leading you to your purpose, to your Dharma. If you have a desire to be a mother and to raise children, again, it's leading you to your desire, to your Dharma, sorry. Even on the small micro level, think about, in hindsight, sometimes you'll make a decision and then you'll look back on it and be like, I cannot imagine what would have happened if I did not make that decision. Because that was the catalyst. That was like the domino for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing of like amazing opportunities and people that I met that was just in the right place in the right time and the right thing just happened. Or because you had a desire to, for example, go to a women's circle, to put yourself out there and do something new. Or you had a desire to go and have lunch at a certain cafe and you ran into someone whilst you were there and had an amazing conversation, or you reconnected with a friend that then led to this and this and this. Or you had a desire to, again, like whatever it could be, go to some place and you ended up meeting your life partner there. Like those desires are nudges from your highest self, from your intuition. I have goosebumps. Your desires are not random. They are the nudges and the whispers from your higher self, leading you to your Dharma. Your desires are divine. Divine as in coming from source, the divine connection, divine universal oneness. So my invitation for you is to listen way fucking more to your desires and practice honoring them. You can listen to them, you can hear them, but that won't necessarily change your life until you actually start to honor them more. And not only does that lead you to your Dharma, but that also enriches your life so much more because you're no longer living in this survival state of only listening to your needs. I need money, I need water, I need to pay the bills, I need to feed myself, whatever the fuck. But you're actually acting from this place of desire. You know what? I desire to get some more sleep. I desire to go and have a really beautiful conversation with someone, put myself out there. I desire to learn more, to grow my mind. I desire to invest in this coach or this program or this course. I desire. Like that is just so much more nurturing and nourishing from the inside out. And so part of that I want you to think about is like answering the call. And this links into your desires. What whispers or nudges have you heard that have been there over here? Like, shh, you should do this. Think about this. What about this? I kind of want this. But for some reason, maybe you haven't taken it seriously. You haven't stopped to actually listen to it. Or you've come up with a million reasons why that wouldn't work, why that can't be a thing, why that wouldn't be possible, or why you don't want to deal with the consequences and the fallout of that. If, for example, the call is to step away from certain people or leave your job and do something that seems outwardly scary. So, your job right now is to listen and answer the call. Because that call is coming from your higher self and it is leading you to the life that you ultimately truly fucking desire and are here for. And my love, hear me when I say that it gets to be so much better than it currently is. It gets to be so much better than just living in survival of meeting your needs or not even, and living for the next thing and the next thing, running on a hamster wheel. It gets to be so deeply fulfilling and freeing and fun and good for your soul and your body and your mind. Life gets to be all that you want it to be, but not if you don't show up for it. Following your Dharma, creating a purpose-driven life and experiencing the soul fulfillment that only comes with that will challenge the fuck out of you at times, and it will scare you sometimes. I can assure you of that. But let me remind you, like I love to do, that you were put on this earth to do hard things. You can do hard things. You are resilient, you are resourceful, you are fucking tough. And you are soft, you are sensitive. And that gets to be all wrapped up into one and do the hard things, because that makes your wholeness. You're not just one side of that, you are all of that. And that actually is part of what makes up your superpower. So the next thing that I want to invite you to think about is alchemy. And if you haven't been able to tell, or if you're new to my world, I love the word alchemy. I love the concept of alchemy. And it's funny, and I have my parents to thank for a lot, as much as there's also been a lot of reparenting and childhood trauma and conditioning and all the rest of it, as there always is. I do have my parents to thank for a lot. Obviously my name's pretty cool. Storm Journey is pretty cool. That is my given name. I do get questions about that. That is my birth name, Storm Giovanna Journey Davidson. Another one though being, my parents introduced me to the concept of alchemy at quite a young age, maybe like 7 or 8. And I didn't obviously fully understand the depths of it and didn't relate to it in a spiritual way. They only explained it to me in the scientific way. But now today, this concept of alchemy is something that I really use a lot in how I live my life and how I work with clients, and the spaces that I hold are really one of alchemy. And I see alchemy as taking shit and turning it into gold. You know, taking fear, taking conditioning, taking trauma, and metamorphosizing. I'm actually not 100% sure if that's a word. I think I may have made that up. I'm not sure what the grammatically correct word for metamorphosis is. Let's just say transforming or metamorphosizing. I think it's a thing. Let's just say it's a thing. Metamorphosizing the shit into power, into purpose. Taking the pain and alchemizing it into your purpose. So, what medicine lies within you that it's time to share with others? What gifts do you have that others would benefit from? What experiences have you been through that you have learned from, that you have transformed because of, that you've up-leveled your life because of, that other people might be experiencing right now and need support in, or need something to help them through that? Because a lot of your purpose and your dharma is also going to come down to this one core concept. Because your journey, your life experience, again, is not random. And this might be triggering for some, but ultimately you get to choose how you look at the shit that you've been through. The trauma and the shitty things and the fucked up things, all of it. You get to choose how you look at it. My invitation for you is that you see it as on some soul level, not a mind level, a soul level. You agreed, you signed a soul contract before you entered this lifetime in the ether. You agreed to experience this because of the growth that it would bring, the medicine that you would take from that. Because the dark times create the lotus. The dark times create the warriors. The dark times bring medicine. And you'll probably find this medicine in your heart. Yeah. So because of what you've been through, I want you to find that within you. What desires do you have to serve other people? And this is another code for you. Living your dharma means that you focus on what can I give instead of what can I get? How can I serve instead of just what do I want? And this is where, manifesting the reality that you desire gets to become so much more fulfilling and easier and aligned, is when you stop just making it about you and you actually focus on the bigger impact and the ripple of your dharma. think about the other people, the other humans, maybe even animals, the other life that you make better because of your devotion to your Dharma, if you choose to go all the way in. Think about the reality of that, and think about the people, the life that you don't get to impact if you don't go all in on your Dharma and be courageous and do the damn fucking things. Think about what you miss out on. Think about the ways that you don't get to help other people, the fun, the memories, the magic that you don't get to make. And I say that because that can be a powerful motivator, to look at that and then just decide, fuck that. I'm not going to allow my own fear and conditioning and bullshit to keep me from that ripple effect, from making other people's lives better. And if you're sitting here subconsciously thinking, but like, do I even have that much to offer? Does anyone care what I've been through? And, you know, I'm not going to make any difference to someone else. Like, bullshit. Bull fucking shit. You have some kind of medicine and gift within you that will benefit other people. Whether that's directly sharing your experience with them like I do, you know, through my podcast or through my containers, or mentoring them or coaching them like I do. Or maybe it is, you know, providing healing touch through massage. Maybe it is through making a safe space for people who've suffered abuse to come and gather. Maybe it is your products that you have created, like jewelry, or, you know, an online e-commerce store. Maybe it's through your job working as a youth worker. Like, there's so many ways that you get to touch other people's lives for the better. And that is one of our core needs as human beings, is the need to serve, the need to feel spiritually like we are making an impact. That creates deep fucking fulfillment. So if you are bored in life, or if you are frustrated, then I question you on, where are you trying to get instead of give? And how can you just devote yourself right now to giving, to being of service, even in small ways? And you might, I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, you might come at me with like, yeah, but I'm sick of giving and giving and giving and no one, you know, appreciating me and returning my energy, and it's not reciprocated, and I've had enough of that, and so my boundary is that I only give to people who give back to me. I see you in that, if that's the case. And I've been there myself. That's why I can say that like that, because I understand. But ultimately, that is coming from a wounded place of, I'm not appreciated, I'm not enough. If you choose to live in that state, that will be your experience of giving, because you're giving with an expectation. So perhaps it's time to make peace with the people who did not reciprocate in the past. Choose to see yourself, honor yourself, value your damn fucking self, instead of looking to and expecting other people to. And if you take that expectation into your career, into your service, into your Dharma, of expecting a certain outcome because you're giving, because you're being brave, because you're showing up and doing the things, then you will at some point in some way be severely disappointed and let down because it didn't go the way that you wanted and it didn't meet your expectations. But again, that's not giving freely. That's not actually being of service. That is giving to get. So how can you just give with an open fucking heart? And I say that again from someone who has experienced that. I've been in that, and that's not linear either. I experienced that a lot when I started out in my Dharma-driven business, and then I experienced that, I sort of got over that and really rooted into my service. But then like last year I found myself in that place, which was purely coming from fear. It was purely coming from this, honestly, like a trauma response. So having compassion for yourself if you're in that is also really important. But as many times as you need to, come back to that, how can I give? How can I serve? And what you will find is that when you are truly of service, coming from an open-hearted place of no expectation, it is deeply rewarding. You receive so much when you are of service. And I feel this in my heart. It's making me tear up because like I connect with that and it just feels so fucking good to give to people. That is the receiving. When you give, you always get back. So when you give love and medicine, you receive that back in so many ways. So I really invite you to think about that. The other thing that I want you to think about is your cyclical feminine nature. You are never, I believe you're never going to fully be embodied in your Dharma and live a really purpose-driven life that's fulfilling and feels really fucking good consistently if you're not honoring your cyclical nature. If, for example, your work, your career is not cyclical, if it's pretty consistent day in, day out, and you have to just get up and show up day in, day out the same, throughout the month, and you're not honoring the seasons and the cycles that you go through, my experience, myself and with clients, is simply that leaves you feeling unfulfilled and burnt out to a certain extent. I won't go super into your cyclical nature in this episode, and I have other ones on this, but just understanding that you have inner seasons. Throughout a month, you have 4 inner seasons. You go through winter and spring and summer and autumn, and you go around in that. That's depending on, your bleed, and then your follicular phase, your ovulation, and your luteal phase. You literally have different ways of showing up, different needs, different desires, different energy levels, throughout those 4 main seasons. And if you don't cater to that, and if you don't live in alignment with that, then you end up living by someone else's blueprint that doesn't match your soul, your truth, your authenticity. And it always leads to frustration and stress, pressure, burnout, unfulfillment, boredom. So how can you infuse your lifestyle and your career with this honorance and this nourishment for your cyclical feminine nature? Because that cyclical essence is feminine by nature. Masculine energy is not cyclical. Not so much. It's more structured. It's the container. Excuse me. Feminine energy flows. It is very much like ebbing and flowing. Think about your seasons of growth. Some years are amazing and some years are more challenging. Some months in a year are amazing, but then something happens. You lose someone, you experience some hardship, and you go through a few months in a winter. You go through a death and a rebirth. Is your lifestyle allowing of and honoring of these sorts of seasons? Because again, if not, it leads to this feeling of there's something wrong with me, and I'm not allowed to give myself what I need because I have to go and make money, or I have to go and show up and do this because there's these responsibilities and these expectations. And yes, there is a level of life has to be lived. Money is an important part of our world, 100%. I'm not trying to undermine that. But as someone who's done it herself, I have evidence of it, I urge you to see outside of the box of what is and has been your reality, and look to, but what's possible? What could I create? What do I desire? If you desire to only work 4 days a week, cool. How can you make that happen? If you desire to work 3 weeks out of a month, cool. How can you make that happen? If you desire to only work 4 or 5 hours a day, cool. You get to make that happen. So what would that look like? And truth be told, that when you listen to your desires, when you alchemize the pain, turn it into your power, your passions, your purpose, when you follow your intuitive hits, when you answer the call, when you are courageous and you just go for it, and you choose to deepen your connection to the divine, to your higher power, to the universe, to source, to God, whatever you connect with, it supports you in doing that. And doors are opened that you didn't even realize were there. Opportunities come that you didn't even realize were possible. And the things that you see also change. You see things differently, so the actions that you take are different, so the results that you get are different. Everything fucking changes when you start to really focus on creating a life in devotion to your Dharma. everything. So if you're feeling like all of the yummy juices and the goodness and the like, I must focus on my Dharma. I hear the call. I feel that nudge. I hear those whispers. Then I am very excited to tell you about what I've been creating these last few weeks, because what I've learned to be true is that no one else has the answers, but being in spaces that are empowering and useful and supportive to ride the ebbs and the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows of being devoted to your Dharma is so empowering. You don't need anyone else's answers. You don't need them to do something for you. But what you do a lot of the time need is spaces to be held, to feel safe, to make these moves, to have these internal awarenesses and transformations. Because a lot of the shit that you'll rub up against is your conditioning and your beliefs about what's possible and what it means to be successful and how you have to do things, and what making money is like and what work is like, and looking at the family conditioning passed down to you and the friends conditioning passed over to you. A lot of the edges that you rub up against is your own hesitance and insecurity around being seen and around being courageous, being authentic, actually connecting into your body, because if you have unhealed trauma, it disconnects you from your body. It means that you live in your mind. It means that you'll go into this state of, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? What do I have to do? Pressure, doing all the things, hustling, life's so busy, so much is happening, overwhelm. And then you try and, really bring your dreams to life. You try and start the business. You try and change careers. You try and move and, action this plan of like living by the beach or living on property or going plant-based or wearing more of the things that you want to wear and not giving a fuck what people think about you. But you're bringing the same conditioning from the masculine ways of doing things. You're bringing the unhealed trauma that's disconnected you from your body and put your nervous system into a dysregulated state of survival. You're bringing all of that old shit into this reality that you're trying to create, which actually inhibits you from doing so and from really fully opening and feeling the pleasure and the play and the fun and the fucking prosperity of that. Because again, let me remind you that your Dharma is not just about what you do, it is about who you be. It is about the frequency that you live your life in consistently, the states that you experience and the emotions that you feel and the connection that you have to yourself, to the divine, to other humans, and to, the planet as a whole. It's a connection. So anyways, back to Devoted to Your Dharma. I just went on a fucking tangent. So knowing all of that, I have created a mastermind. And this is actually my first mastermind that I have run. And a mastermind is really a space for creation, where yourself, if you're feeling the call, and other like-minded women come, and this is an intimate space. There will not be a large amount of women in this group. I am putting out about 7 is where I'm at. I'm open to however that goes, but that's my intention, that's my feelers going out. So really intimate space for you to be seen, for you to be heard, for you to connect with the other women and create what is wanting to be created through you, to birth what is asking to be birthed through you, to listen to the call of your Dharma, of your desires, of your soul, and be supported and empowered by myself, of course, and the other women as you bring that to life. As you listen, as you transmute and alchemize the pains, the limiting beliefs, the traumas, the experiences and imprints that can't come with you, that have been keeping you in this state of pressure and overwhelm and overdrive, busyness, of overthinking, of trying to get it perfect. And I have a very strong feeling that those of you who are going to join me in this are recovering people pleasers and perfectionists and overachievers. But you're ready to change that. you're so fucking ready to shift the massive expectation and weight that you feel to get it all right, to do all the things, to have all this responsibility and pressure and make it all just so. And you're ready to really live from this pleasure-driven state of purpose, of being connected to your body, to your chakras, to your divine feminine. And this isn't about strategy. Like, this space is really about soul. It's about answering the call of your soul and living from an embodied place of being really connected to your body, of feeling safe and secure and grounded, regulated and resilient within your body, within your nervous system. It's about curating your connection to your spirituality, deepening in your connection and your faith to the divine, to the universe, because ultimately manifesting is about co-creation. It's not about you just stomping your foot, doing it all, making it your way. It is about deepening in and realizing that you are co-creating with a higher power. So deepening your connection to the divine, taking up space and being willing to claim and own your desires. This is so much going to be a space to shed the conditioning of your good girl, of doing it right and pleasing and what's safe and what feels good and what feels okay, trying to be who you think that you need to be and trying to say the things that won't ruffle anyone's feathers and not piss too many people off, and be who your family know you to be and be who your friends know you to be. Freeing yourself of that motherfucking cage and bringing back out your wild woman, the part of you that wants to just express yourself and be free and live in your terms and frolic in the fucking flowers and dance and sing at the top of your lungs and share what you're passionate about and live on your terms. So if you have a call to wake up slowly, to choose how you spend your days, if you want to be that bitch who is, the most beautiful dressed up looking woman at the supermarket at 1:00 on a Monday because you get to just do whatever the fuck you want to do, or you're lying by the beach, in the middle of the day because you've already done your work and that's just what feels good to you, or you want to be able to spend as much time as you can with your kids, raising them to be amazing humans and being present with them. Or if you know that you want to be a mama one day and you feel that call and you want to set yourself up now to have the financial freedom and the emotional intelligence and the capacity to be the best mother possible. If you have the desire to become a nomad, you feel that call to go travel and live like life is your playground and explore, but you want to be able to do that in a way that feels safe and secure and able to do so. If you have a call to really bring that business of yours to life, to reach new heights, to reach more people, to create with more ease. If you have a calling to create and birth something, an idea, a business, a movement, a community, a project, that is such a huge part of your Dharma. And I invite you to come and be part of this creatrix space with me and the other like-minded women in my mastermind, Devoted to Your Dharma. So the link will be in the show notes with all of the information, but we start on the 6th of May. I'm pretty sure it's the 6th off the top of my head. And it's like roughly 2 weeks away from when this episode will be live. And there is all of the information that you need in the show notes to come and join. If you have any questions, if you want to know more, if you want to just come and connect with me personally, I would love to speak with you and connect with you. All you need to do is send me a DM on Instagram at Storm Journey and we can chat over there. The price for the mastermind for 10 weeks is 1,111 angel numbers, of course, for standard option, which is just group work. If you want the VIP upgrade to work with me directly, one-on-one throughout the mastermind, then it's 1,777. And Afterpay is available for both of the options. If for some reason you don't have Afterpay, but you are in need of a payment plan, just message me and we can make something work. So it's going to be 10 weeks of creating, of alchemizing, of dancing, of having fun, of connecting, and probably making really, really long-term friendships with the other beautiful women in the mastermind, because they really are a space of like connecting. So this isn't for everyone. Like, this is only for you if you are ready to show up, if you're really fucking serious and committed about what you're wanting to bring into your world and the life that you're ready to live. I hope this served you. I hope that you received what you needed to. I cannot wait to connect with you if you are feeling the call and knowing that it's going to be a good investment to join me inside Devoted To Your Dharma. And if not, and you just love the podcast, then I hope that you got what you needed to, and I will either way connect with you on the next episode. All my love.